A little story before we get into things. I once thought it would be a great idea to go to an Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone movie marathon. It featured all the classics like Rocky, Commando, Demolition Man and Terminator 2. And in my head, this was going to be the greatest evening of my life. But it wasn't. Aside from the fact it started at 8 PM and ran through the night, before it was over I wanted to smash my own face in because I just didn't want to watch any more of these films. But I was trapped, stuck in a muscly abyss that propped itself up with one-liners and flexing. And soon, it became painful. For some reason though, we've all done this to ourselves at one point. It gets even worse when a single movie franchise opens this doorway up all on its own. It lures us in with the idea of an epic journey before destroying our dreams. I'm Simon from Whatculture, and this is 10 painfully long movie marathons you have to do at least once. Number 10, The Dark Knight Trilogy. Coming in at 458 minutes, Christopher Nolan's Batman run of films do take their sweet time. Here's the thing. They're awesome, making you believe that the Caped Crusader could actually be real. They do a marvellous job of rooting Bruce Wayne in reality and never letting up, and yes, I include The Dark Knight Rises in there. I like Bane. The real treat is how well linked each three of the movies are. It really is like one stretched out story, with different themes taking centre stage but the core ideals never shifting too much. You'll have a greater appreciation for it if you do it in one sitting. That doesn't mean it's not tough. I actually tried to do this as well when the IMAX in London put all three on back to back. I was asleep before the Joker tried to blow up some boats. I'm old. Number 9, The Lord of the Rings. At a whopping 558 minutes, or 680 if you go for the extended editions, The Lord of the Rings goes on forever. However, it was such a defining series for many people, especially if you grew up with them, that the characters and narrative mean the world to some, so much so they're happy to sit down and give everything they have to it, as and when the time calls. They also work well in terms of indulging because both the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers end on cliffhangers of sorts, or at least end extremely openly, so if you find yourself invested, you may as well go for the whole hog. Here's the real kicker though. I watched the first one the other day, and I think it may be rubbish now. Not 100% sure, I'm still looking into it, but I had an inkling. Number 8, The Twilight Saga. Why anyone would want to spend 609 minutes watching The Twilight Saga, I don't know. But I'm not here to judge, so if werewolves kissing vampires, or whatever happens in these things, gets you going, good for you. Embrace it, go crazy. And if the best way to do that is to watch each movie back to back, then why the hell not? You can enjoy the roller coaster that is the greatest love story ever told. At least that's what the internet says anyway. And when you get towards the end of it, you have the added bonus that the franchise stops taking itself seriously in any sense. Hence why Jacob just strips off at one point. Guess that's worth powering through for anyway, if that's your thing. Number 7, The Planet of the Apes. In 840 minutes, you can go through so many interpretations of Planet of the Apes, you'll start to wonder, firstly, what on earth you're doing, and secondly, how so many people can come up with so many different ideas. Featuring such beauties as Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Conquest for the Planet of the Apes, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, a remake of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Even going through the titles is torture enough. Now imagine watching them all as well. It's not as consistent as some of the series most people try to binge, but that's not to say you won't get a lesson in cinema history. It's just some of that history is showing how rubbish things can be. There are highlights though, and the latter two movies are among the best of the bunch. And that means the franchise is on an upward curve. Number 6, Aliens and Predator. Whether they're facing off or just doing their own thing, there is 923 minutes of Alien and Predator goodness to enjoy. Or 1,118 minutes if you throw AVP in there too. I'm not going to sit here and run through every movie because you know what I'm talking about, and you know that the original Predator may very well be the best of them all. And that's your cue to start arguing in the comments. Thankfully, most are at least watchable, and the only real dud is when the two properly go head to head in battle. But even then, it does enter so bad it's kinda good territory. I still think you can get a laugh out of it. It's Prometheus that's the real issue. That movie goes on for your entire life and isn't as good as most of us wanted it to be. Still though, while it may hurt towards the end, you are in for some truly wonderful treats. Number 5, Star Wars. You knew this was coming, and it may very well be the most divisive when you think what you have to get through. Clocking in at 1,073 minutes, and counting, this does indeed take you all the way from Episode 1 up to Rogue One. Now, the issue is at the start. Before you get to anything remotely good, you have to fight through the second part of the trilogy, which chronically serves as the first part. I wonder Star Wars pisses people off. However, because they're tonally and visually so similar, you really do feel like you're going on some grand adventure with a bunch of space people. When you do get to 4, 5 and 6, it's hard not to get all excited. We watched these as kids, so instantly your nostalgia gland kicks in and you feel like the whole shebang was worth it. Plus, with what happens in episode 7, you also get to experience some mechanical endings. It's pretty good. Number 4, Harry Potter. I've never seen a Harry Potter movie. Just thought I'd throw that out there. See what it does to you. A lot of people have though, and if you sit down to walk through them all, it will cost you 1,179 minutes of your life. From what I'm told, they're solid at the very least, but the real fun is you get to see Harry and his childhood chums grow up. And that's not just in the movies themselves, you actually get to see the actors go through their adolescence in front of your eyes. Which is crazy when you take a step back and process such information. They also get better as they go along, and the big ending to the whole thing will easily justify what you just went through. Then when you're done, you can also go and read the books. Really eke this one out. Number 3, Star Trek. At 1,520 minutes, the run of Star Trek films is going to test your patience, especially because you know every other one is going to suck, and suck hard. On top of that, we're getting into silly territory now too. 1,520 minutes is 25.5 hours, meaning you'd have to go through an entire day. Don't do that. Instead, plan in some sleep as you go from the motion picture all the way to beyond. It is almost like a window into the past though. You get to see different captains, different actors taking on the same role, how much the Enterprise changes. If you were to make notes, you'd probably have some damn interesting findings to share when all is said and done. Either way, get to rewatch The Wrath of Khan. It's never a bad thing. Number 2, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel films come out so fast these days, I've probably already been beaten to the punch. So we're drawing the line at Guardians of the Galaxy 2 for the purposes of this list. Otherwise, we'll be updating it over and over and over and over again until the superhero bubble finally bursts. But you could take a seat, put on Iron Man and make your way to Guardians 2 in 1,906 minutes, and I guarantee if you do that, you'll hate Marvel by the end of it. The amazing thing is, mind, all of them are pretty good. There's some blips such as Iron Man 2 and the Incredible Hulk, but even they are watchable. Everything else here is either really entertaining or straight up awesome. So while you may go out of your mind, you'll have a laugh doing it. And that is the only way to go. Number 1, James Bond. The Bond series of films crushes everything else here with a very powerful 3,042 minutes, should you wish to start with Dr. No and tick all the boxes up till Spectre. The real hurdle is dealing with the jarring quality. There's no point debating it here as everyone has their favourites, but there are some right duds that never deserve to be thought about, let alone be included in a binge watch. You do, however, get to find out just who your preferred Bond is. There's no better way of figuring that out than seeing them all back to back, and it may even give you a newfound respect for someone you weren't expecting. Or just make you hate them even more. There is that risk too. Know of any other movie binges that are painful? Let us know in the comments below, and then if you like, share and subscribe. You can even follow Whatculture on Twitter at Whatculture, and I'm there too at SimonMiller316. I am Simon from Whatculture, and I'm off to watch all the Batman movies, but not Batman and Robin. That sucks.